Go out to New York and visit with Charlie Minn, who's a documentary filmmaker. He's working on a documentary that will be released in November, and it'll be premiered at the Premier Cinemas in Bryan in November, which will mark the 20-year mark of the bonfire collapse in 1999 on the A&M campus. Charlie Minn's with us right now, Mac Resource Computers Hotline. Charlie, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking with you. Very much looking forward to getting a glimpse of this project. And I appreciate you telling this story, and I understand on the side of the victims and a few of the survivors. Tell us a little bit about the project and how you decided to tell this story.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. This is an extremely victim-driven film. It's to honor and represent all the fallen Aggies, survivors, friends, and family. This is certainly a story that, probably the most significant news story in the history of the College Station, Bryan area. And it shook so many people, affected so many people. And what I'm trying to zero in on is the guts and the humanity shown by the survivors, and also honor the victims that passed. The movie is called The 13th Man because the movie is going to focus on John Comstock.
Yeah. Who
was the last person pulled out from underneath the debris. And it's a miracle. He's a walking miracle. It's a miracle that he made it out and that he's alive today. And his guts should be an example to all of us.
There's no question about it. Let's stay right there, Charlie, because when I saw that the movie, and I saw the Eagle article and your title, and I didn't know if it was a working title, if you're rolling with it, and I loved it. Because this is the home of the 12th man. Matter of fact, that's not just trademark. That's everything that A&M represents. And then you go back and remember, and all Aggies don't have to think about it very long to know that the number of deceased in that tragic accident was 12. And there was one other who probably could have easily made it 13, but his guts and will to survive even continues to this day, and that's number 13, right, John?
Yeah, John Comstock, just an amazing story. I believe he was underneath the rubble for about 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
Nearly died 3 different times during surgery. A&M even wrote up a letter talking about John's death, right. And thankfully that letter never went out. And John miraculously survived, and we follow John around and show what he's doing today. He just got married.
Yeah. Were you guys at the wedding? Did you film it?
Oh, yeah, we did. We were there for a little bit. And, I don't think I've ever met a more likable victim in my life, a more likable survivor. I mean, I've done 30 documentaries, a lot of them driven. And not just John, but I would just say I've never made a film so far where so many of the people that I've met are just so likable. It's impossible not to root for them. And from the Curley family, the Ebanks family,
yeah.
My hearts go out to all of them. They're amazing people. And, El Paso is my second home after New York. And I used to say El Paso is the nicest part of Texas in terms of people's personality. Boy, that College Station, Bryan area, they're right there with El Paso. They make you feel at home. They make you feel like family.
No doubt. Well, if you mentioned the Curley family, if you interviewed Tim Curley's dad and he told you he was from anywhere in the country, you would say, man, those people are incredibly nice, because you're not going to meet a nicer man than Tim Curley Sr.
Yeah, and we interviewed Janice.
Yep. And
her interview was one of the most powerful in the documentary, and her son is known as the 12th man, right. Tim Jr., and Tim unfortunately succumbed to his injuries and passed away. And when first responders came to the site of the collapse, when they first saw Tim Jr., Tim said, "Don't work on me.
Right.
Go to my friends first."
Yes.
I mean, if that doesn't tell you what Tim Jr. was all about, never thought about himself, always thought about others, and they kept him alive long enough so where his parents that you just talked about came down from Tennessee to see him alive one last time before they had to they decided to pull the plug. So, I mean, there's a lot of powerful stories here that I'm not sure everyone knows about.
Right.
Certainly, any story will fade after 20 years, but this film will certainly will educate, inform people, and remind people, and make people never forget these people.
It's an amazing story. There's so many characters I know you're going to dive into, while the central figure would be John Comstock. But that Curly story, I've heard it 100 times over 20 years, and I've got goosebumps right now hearing you talk about it, where he knew he was seriously injured, but he never said, me. He said, no, I'm fine. He actually, didn't he utter to the first responders, I'm good. Like this guy right here, and him, and that guy. You don't talk about heroism. That's heroism.
Yeah, he basically said, yeah, go to them first.
Right.
Go to my friends first. And, talk about a selfless act.
Yeah.
And his story is remarkable. He truly is the 12th man, and I know the people in College Station, Bryan, are really going to be moved by the movie and his story, along with John's and some of the others.
Who else did you talk to that you want our listeners to know about, Charlie?
Well, we talked to a few first responders that were on site. We talked about John Comstock, the Curley family, Ebanks family. I'm still trying to get more people that can come forward. They could contact the website. We have a very early website up, and the trailer will be on there in the next few weeks.
What's it called?
The website is 13thmanfilm.com.
13th.
Yeah, exactly, the number, 13thmanfilm.com. If someone would like to contact that website and say, hey, I think you should interview this person, that'd be great. We still have time. The movie won't be out until November the 7th, and the Aggies do not have a football game that weekend. So I know exactly when to release a film, especially in that area, because obviously you don't want to do it the same weekend that A&M is playing a football game. And I'm still deciding whether to do this production all by myself or collaborate with a producer. I'm still seeking a partner, but if I have to do it on my own, I will. I've done 30 other documentaries. A lot of them I've done on my own and put them on Amazon Prime and put them in movie theaters. But so far, I can't say enough, Gabe, about the A&M community. A lot of them have reached out to me, initiated and unsolicited, just reached out to me and try to help, say whatever you need, please don't hesitate to ask. And yeah, I can't say enough about that area.
Charlie Minn's with us. He's a filmmaker, and he's doing a documentary right now called 13th Man, focusing on John Comstock and his survival and his how over 20 years he's continuously, daily overcome that incredible tragedy, the 99 Bonfire collapse. He's with us here on the Mac Resource Computers Hotline. There have been a lot of different features and reports and people paying tribute to this tragedy, and over the 20 years, there have been a lot of these. But why was it so important to you, Charlie, to tell it your way? Well, with such a landmark anniversary around the corner, 20 years, I just felt this is probably a great time to go back and look at these survivors and talk about the incident again. Sometimes after 20 years, your perspective changes. Yeah. And especially today with all the millennials, the Texas A&M student body, I don't know how many of them, like today, the students today I'm talking about, I don't know how many of them truly know what happened. Because, again, every story fades over time. And today, the college students, 18 to 22, Gabe, when you and I were going to college, it's a different time right now. People are on their phones, and they're so distracted, and they're looking at other things, and I get that. But I think true stories like this that are so emotional and powerful, I'm sure anyone who grew up in that area who's over the age of 30, they know about it. But for the people that are going to college today and below, I'm not quite sure how many people truly know about it. Well, they weren't even born.
Yeah, exactly. So a film like this, like documentaries, I've always said, they're meant to inform, educate, and raise awareness to better society, for social change. So if this film makes anyone a better human being and makes them look at their guts and their humanity in a closer way, well, then I think I did my job.
While you're working on this project and you're diving into it and you're researching, last question, how impressed are you to this day by the spirit that this community and Aggies showed in overcoming that tragedy?
It's amazing. We had an open call over at Premier Cinemas in Bryan, and we had quite a few people from the community come out, and just about everyone talked about how the community really rallied behind the victims, the survivors, the families, and the friends, and just about everyone talked about community. And I wasn't surprised at all. Just after meeting a lot of the people in College Station, Bryan, I'm certainly not surprised that the community came out and showed so much love and support for all the fallen Aggies. And like I said, I don't think I've been to another part of Texas, with the exception of El Paso, where people are just so open to you and treat you like family. So I really can't wait to release this film on November the 7th at Premier Cinemas in Bryan and really get this story out there again.
Well, mark the date, Aggies. November the 7th. I'll be there. I don't have anything to do either. A&M's not traveling, so I'm not traveling with them. So it's an off week. It's a great time to do that, and you've got plenty of time to make sure you're there for 13th Man, November 18th, 1999. A college in Texas changed forever. A Charlie Minn film, and you can learn more about the website and even come forward if you want to tell your perspective of it. 13th, 13thmanfilm.com. Charlie, it was an honor talking with you, and I'm sure we'll do it again as we get closer to the premiere.
Yeah, I don't want to stress the movie opens on November the 7th and should run for at least a week or more. It's not just that one day.
Sure.
So
sure.
I just wanted to mention that.
Outstanding. Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you very much.